Hello and welcome here to Talk FCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys. We of course are going to be previewing the game between Malaga and Barcelona, La Liga round 28, with 11 games to go now in the league season. We are currently 8 points clear at the top, but will that continue after our trip to La Rosaleda? As always, guys, the preview's coming to you today courtesy of the OneFootball app, which can always be found in the description down below using that link. And also on the OneFootball app, 91% of users back in Barca to beat Malaga tomorrow evening. Very confident on the app and certainly very confident when it comes to my own poll as well. As always, guys, you guys are in good mood ahead of this game. Not many people think we'll lose. Not many people think we'll draw. A lot of you obviously believing that we'll win this game. But I think a lot of you, very intelligent, say that it's going to be a tough game. That's what it is going to be, even with Malaga's position, as we're going to come on to. It's never an easy trip, and we're going to be going over everything you need to know ahead of this clash. Kickoff will be coming to us at 8:45 local time in Malaga, which is usually a good time for us on that Saturday evening. It's not too early in the day. The players have got good time to prepare for it. They are very much comfortable playing at that time in the evening, and we usually come away with good results at that time. Here, as always, guys, the times around the world where you are elsewhere in La Liga. Real Madrid will be facing Eibar away from home. That's going to be earlier on, the very early kickoff. That will be on the Saturday about midday. Valencia will also take a trip to Sevilla. That'll be a very interesting game. That also is before us on the Saturday. And then on the Sunday, Atletico Madrid are in action. They will face not an easy game at home against Celta Vigo on that Sunday evening. So overall, difficult games for our competitors in La Liga. We have the easiest game on paper. But as we're going to be coming on to, it's never quite worked out that way against Malaga. Also, going into this, guys, obviously it is very important that we do remember the bigger picture. Obviously, we're chasing the league title. We're going to want to go to Malaga and get the 3 points. Make no mistake about that. But we will also have to bear in mind that Chelsea game that is now just around the corner. We will face Chelsea at the Camp Nou in that return leg just 4 days after we do face Malaga in La Liga. So obviously, we'll be going for the 3 points. Our minds will definitely be on this game against Malaga in the league, but we will also have that game against Chelsea in the back of our minds. We may see a few rotations. We may see some players possibly brought off if we do take the lead, and we're all thinking about that second leg against Chelsea. But like I say, if the league table and if the stats are anything to go by, this is a game that we should be comfortably winning. This is a game where Malaga should be providing us with absolutely no problems, simply because they are having an absolutely terrible season. They're currently rock bottom of La Liga, 20th position. They've actually got the same number of points this season as we've conceded goals. We've conceded just 13 goals all season, and they've received just 13 points throughout the entire campaign in La Liga so far. They haven't really scored many more goals than that either. They've scored just 16 goals right throughout the season so far. Very little to celebrate this season for the Malaga fans, and they have far and away the worst attack in La Liga by some distance. It has been a really poor season, both home and away. They'd be equally as bad. They've had a few bad seasons now, Malaga, really. They're poorly run right from the top. They often sell their best players, and it's just a case that sometimes you do see that in La Liga. It's catching up with them. Eventually, it was always going to take its toll, and this season, finally, they're right down the bottom. We've had a few run-ins with Malaga, haven't we? You know, the president came out and said things about Catalonia. He said he wanted to help Real Madrid win the league. Well, that's all come back to haunt them now, and they are very much destined for the Segunda Division. But like I say, in this kind of game, we can't get too comfortable, we can't get too complacent, because Malaga, even now they're in their bad state, even though they've had a terrible season, we still can't completely write them off. We can't simply just turn up and expect to win the game. It's still going to be difficult. The crowd is still going to get behind them. They're the kind of club that seem to just raise their level when they play us. You remember the likes of Kameni, who thankfully is no longer there, but he turned into, you know, the prime goalkeeper of the century every time he seemed to play us, and thankfully, like I say, he's not going to be in the Malaga team. And a lot of the stars that have troubled us in the past past have also moved on. Sandro Romeo is one of those who troubled us last season. He's, of course, gone on to Everton since back being loaned to La Liga. But in terms of recent meetings since 2014, we have met Malaga 8 different times, and we've only been on the winning side in half of those occasions. Back in 2014, we won 3-0 at home, but away from home we were held to a goalless draw. Then in 2015, away from home, we were on the winning side by a 0-0. But in the 2016 season, 2-1 winners away from home, but again, dropping points in that home fixture. And in 2017, away from home, we were on the receiving end of a pretty bad and pretty detrimental that year to the title race. We lost 2-0 at Malaga. So it's safe to say that even though they're doing badly, even though they really on paper shouldn't be causing us any kind of problem, we still do have to take them very seriously. We still have to turn up. And that's why I personally believe that Valverde should come into this game and start a strong team, not only to beat Malaga, but also to give everybody a good chance of giving themselves some confidence, giving themselves some momentum going into that Chelsea game. Because even though the Chelsea game is 4 days later, it's not all that soon. 4 days is still quite a long time. If it was on the Sunday and then we played on the Wednesday, completely different story. That's a really short turnaround, just like we saw when we played Las Palmas. That was a really short turnaround when we played Atletico Madrid. But Saturday and then Wednesday, that's not too bad. I think Valverde in this kind of game can afford to set up and start with a strong team. And with that in mind, we are now going to move straight on to the starting lineup. I'm actually going out tonight, guys, so I've had to do this preview a little bit earlier than I usually do, and I've also not really got the handy app where I can move around the positions like usual, but all that'll be back for the Chelsea game. Make no mistake about that. I'm clearing my diary for that game. But in terms of Malaga, like I say, I think we should start strong. The squad isn't out as I'm recording this, so things may change, but I'm not really expecting any big surprises coming into this game. I would, of course, start Ter Stegen in goal, Jordi Alba back at left back, Vermaelen and Umtiti at the centre of defence. I think in this kind of game, we can afford to give Gerard Piqué some rest. I know he's been training. I know that Valverde says he's okay, but I think he needs a game just taken out of the picture to let that knee fully recover before we take on Chelsea. That's really, really important for me. Sergio Roberto at right back, not really a lot of alternatives. You could play Vidal there, but I think that would be a bit of a big risk from Valverde. I would personally go with the structure sort of 4-3-3, certainly against a team like Malaga who have conceded a lot of goals. They're not really a threat on the break. They're not really a threat going forward. I think we can come into this game and start with a lot of attack-minded players. Busquets, I think Coutinho has to start. He can't play in the Champions League, so it only makes sense to start him in that Iniesta role. Iniesta, of course, currently out injured. Some good news on him, though. He is currently running already, even though it was an injury that said it was going to be 4 weeks, perhaps, that he was going to be out for. He's already running, and he seems to have it in his mind right now. He's going to do everything he can, and even beyond the scale of science, to get through that game against Chelsea and somehow be in the team for that. Alongside Coutinho, I would go with the ever-dependable Ivan Rakitic. I think he's been brilliant in recent weeks. Really good he was against Atletico Madrid once again. He is a massive player in our team right now, and he's one of the ones that if we did take the lead, I would think about substituting him. Maybe you can bring in somebody else there in midfield. And then the front three, Messi, Suarez, Dembele. I think they need to start together simply because I think Dembele has a good chance of playing against Chelsea. If he can play well in this game, I would start him, see what he can do, see how the three of those combine, because I think the three of those against Chelsea could cause them really, really big problems, especially in wider areas. Dembele could do some serious damage to Chelsea, but he needs game time. He needs a bit of confidence. Maybe a goal against Malaga could do wonders for him, and I think he has to start this game along with Coutinho and provide that attacking edge going forward to find a way past Malaga, and then all the attention's turning to that Chelsea game. So in terms of my pre-match prediction, I am going to go with Barcelona 2, Malaga 0. And that's not because I think we're going to play bad or I don't think we're going to do very well. I just think it is going to be a tough game. It can often be a very raucous atmosphere at La Rosaleda. We can't take them lightly. I think there will be a bit of that, looking ahead to Chelsea. I don't think everybody's going to be sprinting around the field. We might see a similar kind of display that we saw against Eibar before the first leg. You remember that? We came away from that game very comfortable in the scoreline, but in the performance, it wasn't great. And I think on that day, a lot of minds went forward to Chelsea, and I think it might be a bit similar coming into this game. But I would certainly bank on the likes of Messi, Suarez, of course. They can provide the edge. Like I say, I would love to see Dembele start this game and get some confidence. And if he could put in a good display here, that could help him enormously going forward and give us some really big options for that Chelsea game. So hopefully tomorrow, guys, we can get the job done. Of course, I'll be back tomorrow with a match review with everything following that game. Hopefully we can stay celebrating. And if we win that game, of course, we'll then be 11 points clear of Atletico Madrid before they face Celta on Sunday. If we can win here, once again, another step closer to the title. And that's exactly exactly what we want to be doing. Leave all your comments down below, guys. What do you think the score is going to be? What do you think your lineup is going to be? I'll be back later, of course, when the squad is announced. I'll be posting that on my community section. Hopefully there is no surprises in that squad and Valverde doesn't make me look like an idiot. So I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Thank you as always for joining me. Please also check out my video from earlier on. I did a news roundup video. We spoke about quite sensational headlines about Neymar potentially returning to Barcelona. But don't panic, it doesn't really look very likely. I will see you soon, guys. See you tomorrow. But until then, as always, Vesca El Barça!